Imagine you are sitting alone, replaying a painful moment in your mind. Someone hurt you, maybe with their words, actions, or even their silence. The pain lingers, and no matter how much you try to ignore it, it keeps coming back. You feel anger, frustration, and maybe even a deep sadness that refuses to fade. You ask yourself, why did they do this to me? How could they be so cruel? Now, think about this. How often do we carry the weight of someone else's actions? How much of our energy is spent reliving past hurts? And most importantly, is there a way to free ourselves from this suffering without seeking revenge or holding on to resentment? Let's take a simple example. Imagine someone throws a burning coal at you. If you catch it, you get burned. But if you step aside and let it fall, the fire dies on its own. Holding on to pain is just like catching that coal. It only harms us, not the person who threw it. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, the place where ancient wisdom meets modern life. Before we dive deep into today's life-changing lesson, I have one simple request. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% of viewers subscribe. So please, if you find value in what we share, take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with others, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button. Your support helps spread wisdom to more people who need it. Now let's begin. In Buddhism, suffering is not just a passing emotion. It is a fundamental part of life. But what if I told you that suffering is also our greatest teacher? Every pain, every wound, every heartbreak carries a lesson within it. The Buddha taught that the source of suffering is attachment to people, expectations, and outcomes. When someone hurts us, it is often because we expected them to act differently, to care more, to be kinder. But reality is not always how we want it to be. The first step to freeing ourselves from pain is understanding that hurt does not come from others. It comes from within us. Their actions may have triggered the pain, but it is our mind that holds on to it. Imagine if you could let go of this pain, just like releasing a balloon into the sky. The moment you stop clinging to it, it drifts away. Buddhism teaches us to observe our emotions instead of reacting to them. The more we resist pain, the stronger it becomes. But if we simply acknowledge it, without judgment, it begins to lose its power over us. Think about a cloudy sky. No matter how dark the clouds are, they always pass. Your pain, too, will pass if you let it. But how do we actually do this? How do we train our mind to let go instead of holding on? The answer lies in mindfulness. When we become aware of our thoughts and emotions without identifying with them, we create space between us and our pain. Instead of saying, I am hurt, we can say, I am experiencing hurt right now, but this is not who I am. This shift in perspective can be life-changing. Another powerful lesson from Buddhism is non-attachment. Non-attachment does not mean we stop caring. It means we stop clinging. It means accepting that people will come and go, that situations will change, and that nothing is permanent. When we embrace this truth, we stop taking things personally. Think of a river. It does not hold onto the leaves that fall into it. It simply lets them flow. Our mind should be like that river, allowing experiences to come and go without clinging to them. As we move forward in this journey, I will share with you practical ways to apply these teachings in your daily life. In the next part, we will explore the root of hurt and why understanding it is the key to healing. Stay with me, because the wisdom you are about to learn can change your life forever. Understanding suffering, the root of hurt. Sit with me for a moment. Breathe in and breathe out. Feel the air entering your lungs, then leaving, as naturally as a wave rising and falling in the ocean. This breath is happening now, not in the past, not in the future, just now. Now, ask yourself, where is your pain coming from? Someone hurt you, yes. They said something cruel. They betrayed your trust. They ignored you when you needed them. But where is the pain truly coming from? Is it inside them or inside you? When fire touches your skin, you feel pain. The fire itself does not suffer. It simply burns. The same is true for people. When someone hurts you, they are like fire, acting according to their nature, burning without knowing or caring what they touch. But the pain you feel comes from your own reaction to that fire. Think of a time when someone insulted you. Maybe they called you useless, unworthy, or foolish. If a stranger had said the same words, would they have hurt as much? Probably not. So what made the difference? The difference is in the meaning you attach to the words, the expectations you had from the person, the importance you gave to their opinion. That is where suffering begins, not in the words themselves, but in how you receive them. The Buddha taught that suffering does not come from what happens to us, but from our attachment to how things should be. We believe people should treat us kindly. We believe friends should be loyal. We believe life should be fair. But reality is not bound by our beliefs. It simply moves like the wind, without concern for our expectations. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, screaming at the wind, demanding it to stop. Does the wind listen? No. It continues as it always has, indifferent to your protests. This is how life is. People will do what they do, regardless of what we expect. The more we resist this truth, the more we suffer. A wise traveler once came to the Buddha, full of anger. He said, "Master, I have been wronged. Someone has betrayed me. My heart is filled with rage. How do I make them pay?" The Buddha smiled gently and asked, "If a man offers you a gift, but you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The traveler replied, "To the one who offered it." "Of course." The Buddha nodded. "Then why do you accept the gift of suffering from those who hurt you? Let it remain with them, and you will be free." This is the key, understanding that pain is offered to you, but you do not have to take it. You do not have to carry it. You do not have to hold on to it like a stone in your heart. Think of a river. It does not hold on to the things that fall into it. Leaves, branches, even stones, everything flows with the current. The river does not suffer because it does not cling. Now, imagine yourself as that river. Someone throws a harsh word at you. It flows away. Someone betrays you. That, too, flows away. The moment you stop holding on to pain, it loses its power over you. But how do we do this? How do we train our minds to let go instead of clinging to hurt? The first step is awareness. The moment you feel pain, pause. Do not react. Do not fight it or push it away. Simply observe it. Ask yourself, what is this pain teaching me? Pain, you see, is not the enemy. It is a teacher. When we listen to it instead of fighting it, we begin to understand ourselves. If someone's words wound you deeply, perhaps it is because you seek validation from them. If someone's betrayal breaks you, perhaps it is because you expected them to be different. In every hurt, there is a hidden lesson about yourself. But most people do not see this. They react. They fight back. They seek revenge. And in doing so, they trap themselves in a cycle of suffering. There was once a man who was shot with an arrow. Instead of removing it, he demanded to know who shot it, why they did it, and what kind of wood the arrow was made of. He was so consumed by these questions that he never pulled the arrow out, and so he died from his wound. This is what we do when we hold on to pain. We obsess over why someone hurt us. Why did they say that? Why did they do this? Why did they change? But none of these questions heal us. They only keep the arrow buried deep inside. Healing begins when we stop asking why and start accepting what is. It begins when we pull out the arrow instead of holding on to it. But acceptance is not weakness. It does not mean allowing people to hurt you again and again. It means recognizing that their actions belong to them, not to you. It means choosing peace over anger, wisdom over reaction. Think of a candle. When a strong wind blows, a weak flame flickers and dies. But a strong flame bends, sways, and then rises again. Be like that flame, flexible, unshaken, and unbreakable. Hurt is a part of life. No one escapes it. But suffering is a choice. You can choose to hold on to pain, or you can choose to let it pass like a cloud in the sky. The choice is always yours. So the next time someone hurts you, pause. Do not react. Observe your pain, learn from it, and then, like a river, let it flow. Because in the end, it is not what happens to us that shapes our lives, but how we choose to respond. This is the way of peace. This is the way of wisdom, the power of non-attachment. Sit down, take a deep breath, and listen carefully. There is a truth that many people struggle to understand, a truth that can free you from suffering. That truth is non-attachment. When someone hurts you, why does it feel so painful? Is it because of their words, their actions, or the situation itself? No, it is because of your attachment. You are attached to how things should be, how people should treat you, how life should unfold. But life does not follow our expectations. It moves on its own, like a river, never stopping, never asking for permission. Imagine you are holding a rope tightly in your hands. Someone pulls it from the other side, harder and harder. The more you resist, the more your hands burn. But what happens if you let go? The pain disappears instantly. This is what attachment does. It makes us hold on to things that are already pulling away from us. Non-attachment is not about not caring. It is about caring deeply, but without clinging. It is about loving without trying to control. It is about experiencing life fully, but not being owned by it. Think about the people in your life. You love them, but do you own them? Do they belong to you? No. They are like the wind, passing through your life, staying for a while, and then moving on. Some will stay longer, some will leave sooner, but none can remain forever. If you hold too tightly, you will only suffer when they slip away. Many people confuse non-attachment with indifference. They think it means becoming cold, distant, or emotionless. But it is the opposite. A truly non-attached person loves more deeply than anyone else because their love is pure. It is not based on possession or control. It is not dependent on what the other person says or does. It is free. Think of a flower. If you love a flower, what do? Do you pluck it and keep it in your hands, watching it slowly wither away? Or do you let it bloom, water it, and admire it while it lasts? True love, true peace, comes from allowing things to be as they are. Attachment is what causes heartbreak, disappointment, and anger. You expect people to be a certain way, and when they are not, you feel hurt. You expect life to give you what you desire, and when it does not, you feel cheated. But life never promised you anything. It simply is. Look at the sky. It does not hold onto the clouds. The clouds come and go, changing shape, moving with the wind. Some bring rain, some bring sunshine, but the sky itself remains untouched. Be like the sky. Let your experiences, your relationships, your emotions pass through you without holding on to them. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How can I let go when the pain is so real? How can I stop caring when my heart is breaking? Let me tell you a story. A Zen master and his student were walking along a muddy path when they saw a woman struggling to cross a river. The master, without hesitation, lifted her onto his back and carried her across. She thanked him and went on her way. The student, however, was troubled. Hours passed, and he finally spoke. "Master," he said, "why did you carry that woman? We are monks. We are not supposed to touch women." The master smiled and replied, "I put her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? Do you see? The real burden is not in the event itself, but in how long we hold on to it. Something happens, and instead of letting it go, we carry it for days, months, even years. We replay the pain in our minds, feeding it, keeping it alive. But the moment you decide to release it, it disappears. Non-attachment does not mean giving up everything. It means not letting anything control your inner peace. It means enjoying the present moment without fearing the future. It means loving without demanding. It means living without expecting. Ask yourself this: how much of your suffering comes from reality, and how much comes from the stories you tell yourself about reality? The person who hurt you, they did what they did. That moment is gone, but you keep bringing it back, reliving it, giving it power. You are the one keeping it alive. Imagine if, right now, you decided to let go. Imagine if you dropped the heavy baggage you have been carrying for so long. Imagine the lightness, the freedom. Can you feel it? The Buddha taught that everything in life is impermanent. Everything changes. The things you love, the things you fear, the things you think will last forever, they will all pass. This is not a tragedy, it is a blessing. Because if nothing is permanent, then no pain is permanent either. The suffering you feel now, no matter how deep, will fade. The wound will heal. A bird does not cling to a branch. When it is time to fly, it simply flies. It does not fear the wind, nor does it mourn the branch it leaves behind. It trusts. Trust in life the way a bird trusts the sky. Non-attachment is freedom. It is the ability to live fully without being weighed down. It is the path to true peace. And once you understand this, once you truly embrace it, no one will ever be able to hurt you the same way again. Let go. Breathe. Be free. Compassion over retaliation. Sit with me for a moment. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, imagine this. Someone insults you, speaks to you with anger, or treats you unfairly. Your heart pounds, your chest tightens, and your mind fills with thoughts of what you should say or do in return. You want to defend yourself. You want to make them feel the same pain they caused you. But let me ask you, what will that accomplish? Will your anger make them understand? Will your retaliation heal your wounds? Or will it simply create more suffering? like a fire that grows stronger the more you feed it. There is an old Zen story. A man once approached the Buddha, furious. He insulted him, mocked him, and tried to provoke him. But the Buddha remained calm. The man, confused, asked, "Why do you not react?" The Buddha simply smiled and asked, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man thought for a moment and said, "To the one who offered it." The Buddha nodded. "Then why should I accept your anger? It belongs to you." This is the essence of true wisdom. When someone hurts you, they are handing you a gift of pain, wrapped in anger, frustration, or cruelty. The question is, will you accept it? Or will you let it pass by, untouched, like a leaf floating on a river? Compassion is not weakness. It is the greatest strength. It is easy to hate, easy to strike back, easy to hold on to resentment. But to look at someone who has wronged you and say, "I will not let your darkness enter my heart," that is power. That is freedom. Think about a candle. If someone brings darkness into a room, does the candle fight it? No, it simply shines. No matter how much darkness surrounds it, the candle does not change its nature. It continues to give light. This is compassion. It is not about allowing others to hurt you. It is about choosing not to be consumed by their pain. Many people misunderstand compassion. They think it means allowing others to walk all over you. But true compassion is not submission. It is understanding. It is seeing beyond someone's anger and realizing that their pain is deeper than their actions. When someone lashes out, it is often because they are suffering. Hurt people, but wise people break the cycle. Imagine a person drowning in a river. They thrash and struggle, pulling anyone near them under the water. If you jump in without awareness, they will pull you down too. But if you stay calm, if you understand their struggle without letting it consume you, you can help them without losing yourself. This is how compassion works. It does not mean we allow people to harm us. It means we do not let their pain become our pain. We see their suffering, but we do not drown in it. A great Zen master once said, "Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die." When you hold on to resentment, who suffers? Not the one who hurt you. They may not even remember what they did. But you carry the weight, the pain, the burden. So, I ask you, why carry it? Why let their actions control your peace? Imagine you are holding a heavy rock. It hurts your hands, makes your arms ache. You carry it everywhere, day after day. But what if, right now, you simply open your hands and let it go? The weight disappears. The pain fades. Your burden is gone. That is what compassion does. It does not erase the past, but it frees you from carrying it. It allows you to live with lightness, unchained from the wounds others have given you. But how do we practice this? How do we choose compassion when anger feels so natural? The first step is to pause. When someone hurts you, do not react immediately. Take a breath. Feel the emotion rise within you, but do not let it control you. See it as a passing cloud, not a storm that must consume you. Then, ask yourself, what is this person suffering? What pain do they carry that has made them act this way? This does not mean excusing their actions. It means understanding that their pain is their own, and you do not have to make it yours. Next, remind yourself that compassion is not for them. It is for you. It is not about making them feel better. It is about setting yourself free. When you choose compassion, you are choosing peace over pain, love over resentment, freedom over imprisonment. It is not always easy. Some wounds run deep. Some betrayals cut like a knife. But remember, the goal is not to change the past. The goal is to change how the past lives within you. Think of a lotus flower. It grows in the mud, yet it is not stained by it. It rises above, untouched by the dirt that surrounds it. You, too, can be like the lotus. No matter how much pain surrounds you, you can choose to rise above it. One final thought. There was once a samurai who asked a Zen master, "What is the difference between heaven and hell?" The master looked at him and said, "You are a fool. You do not deserve to know." The samurai, furious, drew his sword. His anger burned, his hands shook. The master smiled and said, "That is hell." The samurai paused. He took a deep breath, lowered his sword, and bowed. The master nodded. "And that is heaven." In that moment, the samurai understood. Heaven and hell are not places. They are within us. Our choices, our reactions, our ability to let go or hold on. These create our suffering or our peace. So, the next time someone hurts you, remember this. you hold the power. You decide whether to carry their darkness or to shine your own light. Choose wisely. Choose peace. Choose compassion. The art of letting go. Sit with me for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your lungs, and as you exhale, imagine releasing all the weight you have been carrying. If only it were that simple, right? If only we could let go of our pain as easily as we let go of our breath. But why is it so hard? Why do we hold on to the things that hurt us? Think of a time when someone wronged you. Perhaps they betrayed your trust, spoke harsh words, or left you feeling abandoned. Maybe it was a friend, a family member, or even a stranger. That moment is gone, yet the pain remains. It lingers in your mind, replaying itself over and over, like a song stuck on repeat. You may think about what you could have said, what you should have done, or how unfair it all was. But tell me, does any of that change what happened? Holding on to pain is like carrying a heavy stone in your hand. The longer you hold it, the heavier it feels. At first, it may seem bearable, but over time, it begins to drain your energy. It starts to define you. It becomes a part of your identity. And yet, if you simply opened your hand, the stone would fall. Just like that, you would be free. But you don't let go, because something inside you whispers, this pain is mine. If I let it go, what do I have left? The truth is, we cling to our pain because we believe it gives us something. Maybe it makes us feel righteous. Maybe it makes us feel like the victim, and in some way, that justifies our suffering. Maybe we think that if we let it go, we are letting the other person win. But tell me, who is really winning? The one who moves on, or the one who stays trapped in the past? Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending that the pain never happened. It means accepting that it happened and choosing not to let it control you anymore. It means looking at the wound, acknowledging it, and then allowing it to heal. You do not heal by constantly reopening the wound. You heal by giving it time, by being gentle with yourself, and by understanding that your suffering does not define you. Imagine a bird with a broken wing. If it keeps flapping in pain, struggling against what has already happened, it will only hurt itself more. But if it rests, if it allows itself to heal, one day it will fly again. You are that bird. Your wings are not broken forever. But healing requires stillness. It requires acceptance. It requires trust that you will rise again when the time is right. Buddhism teaches us that clinging is the root of suffering. Not just clinging to people, but to ideas, to expectations, to memories of how things should have been. We resist reality because we want things to be different. But reality does not bend to our desires. It moves forward, with or without us. The river does not stop flowing because we wish it would. The sun does not refuse to rise because we are not ready for a new day. The world moves on, and so must we. You may ask, but how do I let go? How do I stop feeling this pain? The answer is simple, yet not easy. You stop feeding it. You stop telling yourself the same story over and over. You stop giving power to the past. Every time you relive the pain, you are inviting it back into your present. You are keeping it alive. But the moment you decide, I will not carry this anymore, you take the first step toward freedom. Imagine you are holding a rope. On the other end of the rope is a person who has hurt you. You are pulling, they are pulling, and the tension between you grows stronger. It is painful, exhausting. Now what happens if you let go of the rope? The struggle ends. The pain stops. You may feel empty for a moment, but soon you realize you are free. Letting go is not an instant process. It is something you practice day by day. Some days, the pain will return, knocking on the door of your heart. That is okay. Do not fight it. Acknowledge it, but do not invite it in. Say, I see you, but I no longer need you. And then, gently, let it pass. Meditation can help. When the mind is still, we see things as they truly are. We realize that our pain is not who we are. It is just something we are experiencing. Like clouds in the sky, it will pass. Sit with your pain, breathe through it, and watch it dissolve. Compassion also helps. Not just for others, but for yourself. Understand that you are human, and it is okay to feel hurt. But do not punish yourself by holding on to that hurt longer than necessary. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about setting yourself free. You do not forgive because they deserve it. You forgive because you deserve peace. Imagine yourself walking through a beautiful forest. You are carrying a heavy bag, filled with all your past pain, regrets, and disappointments. The journey is long, and the weight slows you down. Now, imagine setting the bag down. Feel the lightness in your body, the freedom in your soul. That is what letting go feels like. As we move forward in this journey, remember this: you are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not the things that have happened to you. You are the one who chooses what to carry and what to release. The choice is always yours. Will you keep holding on to the stone, or will you open your hand and set yourself free, transforming pain into wisdom? Sit with me for a moment. Breathe. Feel the air entering your body, then leaving. Let your mind settle like still water. Now, think of a time when you were hurt. Maybe someone betrayed you. Maybe life didn't go as planned. Maybe you gave your heart, your trust, your effort, and in return, you received pain. Pain is real. It cuts deep. It lingers. It whispers to us when we are alone, reminding us of what was lost. It makes us question everything: our choices, our worth, even the goodness of life itself. But today, I want to show you something different. I want to show you how pain is not your enemy. Pain is not a punishment. Pain is a teacher. And if you listen, if you truly listen, it will guide you to something far greater than suffering. The Buddha once said, "Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional." What does this mean? It means that pain will come. It is part of life. But suffering, that deep, endless ache we carry inside, is a choice. And this choice depends on how we see pain. Look at fire. Fire can burn. It can destroy. But it can also give warmth. It can cook food. It can bring light in the darkest of nights. Pain is the same. If we resist it, it burns us. But if we understand it, it transforms us. Imagine a blacksmith working on a piece of iron. He heats it in fire. He hammers it. Again and again. The iron could scream if it had a voice. It could say, "Why must I go through this? Why must I be struck over and over?" But the blacksmith knows. He sees what the iron does not. He is shaping it, making it strong, making it into something useful, something beautiful. Now, what if your pain is the fire? What if life is the blacksmith? And what if, instead of seeing only the strikes and the heat, you could see what you are becoming? The mind does not like pain. It wants comfort. It wants ease. But growth does not happen in comfort. Strength is not built in ease. Look at a tree. The strongest trees are not those that grow in soft, perfect soil. They are the ones that stand through storms, through winds that bend them, through droughts that test their roots. These trees do not just survive. They become unshakable. So I ask you, what if your pain is making you unshakable? What if every hardship, every betrayal, every moment of suffering is not breaking you, but building you? Buddhism teaches us to embrace reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Life will not always be kind. People will not always be fair. But within every hardship, there is wisdom waiting to be discovered. The problem is, most people never look for it. They only see what was taken from them. They do not see what is being given. Think of a wound. When you first get hurt, it bleeds. It stings. It seems like it will never heal. But over time, the body works. The wound closes. A scar forms. And what is a scar? It is proof that you were hurt, but it is also proof that you healed. Pain and healing walk together. There is no healing without pain, just as there is no light without darkness. But healing only happens if we allow it. If we pick at the wound, if we refuse to let it close, it will never become a scar. So how do we transform pain into wisdom? We start by asking, what is this pain teaching me? Maybe it is teaching you patience. Maybe it is showing you the truth about a person you once trusted. Maybe it is making you stronger, more resilient. Maybe it is preparing you for something greater that you cannot yet see. A bird in a cage does not understand freedom. It has never flown through the open sky. But if one day the door opens, and it is forced to leave, it might feel fear. It might not know where to go. But with time, it will learn. It will spread its wings. It will realize that the cage was never its true home. Sometimes, pain is that open door. It pushes us out of the places we have outgrown. It forces us to see what we were too afraid to see. It takes us away from what is familiar so we can finally discover what is true. There is a story of a monk who was once insulted by a man. The man shouted at him, called him names, tried to provoke him. But the monk simply smiled. This angered the man even more. He said, "Why are you not reacting? I am insulting you." The monk replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to take it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man thought for a moment. It still belongs to the giver, he said. The monk nodded. Then why should I accept your anger? It is yours, not mine. Pain is the same. People will try to give you anger, bitterness, cruelty. You do not have to accept it. You do not have to carry it. You do not have to let it become a part of you. True wisdom is not found in avoiding pain, but in using it. A stone, when placed in water, sinks. But a boat, though made of the same material, floats. The difference is in how it is shaped. Your mind is the same. If you let pain weigh you down, you will sink. But if you use it to learn, to grow, to rise above, you will float. Do not fear pain. Do not run from it. Sit with it. Listen to it. Let it shape you, but do not let it define you. You are not what happened to you. You are what you become because of it. One day, you will look back at your hardest moments, and you will see that they were not obstacles. They were steps. Steps that led you to wisdom. Steps that led you to strength. Steps that led you to a version of yourself that is no longer a prisoner of the past, but a master of the present. And when that day comes, you will smile. Not because the pain was easy, but because it was necessary. Because without it, you would not have become who you are meant to be. Karma, in forgiveness, breaking the cycle. Come closer, and listen carefully. There is something I must tell you. Something that can free your heart from its burden. You have been hurt. Someone has wronged you. Maybe they betrayed your trust, spoke harsh words, or treated you unfairly. And now, that wound sits heavy in your heart. You wonder, should you forgive them? Should you hold on to the pain? Should you wait for karma to punish them? Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who carried a heavy sack everywhere he went. Inside this sack were stones, each representing a grudge, a betrayal, an unkind word. Every time someone wronged him, he added another stone. He believed that holding on to these stones would remind him never to trust, never to be fooled, never to be weak. But as years passed, he grew tired. His back ached. His legs weakened. And yet, he refused to let go. He said, "If I drop these stones, it means I am letting them go unpunished. It means I have lost." One day, an old monk saw him struggling. The monk smiled and said, "Tell me, who suffers more? The one who threw the stone, or the one who carries it forever?" The man looked down at his sack. For the first time, he saw the truth. He had been punishing himself. This is how resentment works. We think that by holding on to it, we are keeping justice alive. But in reality, we are only poisoning ourselves. Now, you may ask, what about karma? Will karma take care of those who hurt me? Karma. Most people misunderstand it. They think karma is a force that punishes wrongdoers and rewards the good. But karma is not a judge. It is not a cosmic revenge system. Karma simply means action and consequence. Every action creates a ripple, and that ripple returns in some form. But not always in the way we expect. Imagine a person who lies and cheats others. They may seem to escape punishment at first, but over time, their life becomes filled with fear, dishonesty, and mistrust. They attract people who deceive them. They live in a world of their own making. That is karma. It does not always come as a lightning bolt of justice. Sometimes, it is simply the life they create for themselves. So, should we wait for karma to take care of those who hurt us? No, because if we do, we are still attached to them. We are still holding on to that heavy sack of stones, waiting for someone else to suffer before we allow ourselves to be free. But listen carefully. Your freedom does not depend on their suffering. It depends on your ability to let go. Forgiveness is not about excusing their actions. It is not about pretending it didn't hurt. It is about saying, "I refuse to let this pain control me anymore." I know this is not easy. When we are deeply wounded, forgiveness feels impossible. But let me ask you, what is the alternative? Carrying pain for the rest of your life? Becoming bitter? Allowing someone else's actions to define you? Letting go does not mean you must welcome them back into your life. It does not mean you must trust them again. It simply means you are choosing peace over pain. Think of a tree. When a storm comes, the tree bends, but it does not break. When the storm is over, the tree does not hold onto the wind. It lets it pass. You must be like that tree, strong, but willing to let go. And what if they never apologize? What if they never regret what they did? My dear friend, their regret is not your responsibility. Your healing is. Do not wait for an apology that may never come. Do not give them that power over your peace. I have seen people hold on to grudges for decades. And in the end, the only thing they gained was wasted time. There is an old Buddhist saying, Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Think about that. Who suffers more? You, or the one you refuse to forgive? Now, you may wonder, but if I forgive, does that mean they win? No, it means you win, because you refuse to let them live inside your mind, rent-free. Because you choose your peace over your pain. Because you are strong enough to move forward. Some people think letting go means weakness, but it is the greatest strength of all. It takes courage to release pain. It takes wisdom to understand that your happiness should not depend on someone else's downfall. Look around you. The world is full of people carrying invisible sacks of stones. People walking with anger in their hearts, waiting for justice, waiting for the past to change. But the past will not change. Only you can change. So, I ask you now, will you put down the sack? Will you free yourself from this weight? Will you choose to live instead of holding on to a past that no longer exists? Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself standing by a river. You are holding a heavy stone, the heaviest one. It represents the pain you have carried for so long. Now, picture yourself letting it go. Watch it fall into the river. Watch the water carry it away. This is your moment of freedom. This is your new beginning. And this, my dear friend, is the lesson of karma and forgiveness. Not about punishment, not about revenge, but about liberation. The choice is yours. The middle way, finding balance in emotions. Sit with me for a moment. Breathe in and breathe out. Feel the air as it touches your skin. Listen to the quiet around you. Now, tell me, what happens when you pull a string too tight? It snaps. And what happens when you leave it too loose? It has no purpose. Life, emotions, and even suffering are like this string. Too much attachment, and we break. Too much avoidance, and we lose connection. The middle way is the balance between these two extremes. When someone hurts us, our natural reaction is often one of two things. Either we cling to the pain, replaying the moment over and over, or we suppress it, pretending it never happened. Both paths lead to suffering. Clinging makes the wound deeper, and suppression only buries it, allowing it to fester. The middle way teaches us to acknowledge our pain without becoming lost in it. Imagine a boat floating on a river. If it fights the current, it struggles. If it does nothing, it drifts aimlessly. But if it adjusts its sail, it moves with purpose. This is the middle way. It is not about denying emotions, nor is it about drowning in them. It is about moving forward with awareness. You may ask, but how can I do this? My emotions are strong. My pain feels overwhelming. The first step is observation. Do not push away your emotions. Instead, watch them as if they were clouds in the sky. A dark cloud may appear, but does it stay forever? No. It moves, changes, and disappears. Your emotions are the same. Let me tell you a story. Once, a student came to the Buddha, filled with anger. He had been betrayed by a close friend and could not let go of his rage. He asked the Buddha, "How can I stop feeling this way?" The Buddha picked up a cup and said, "If I fill this with poison, who does it harm?" The student replied, "Whoever drinks it." The Buddha smiled. "And if I hold on to it, refusing to let it go?" The student thought for a moment and then answered, "Then it harms you." Holding on to pain is like carrying poison, expecting the other person to suffer. But who truly suffers? You do. The middle way is not about pretending that the betrayal never happened. It is about understanding that carrying it forever only hurts you. Think about fire. If it is too strong, it burns everything. If it is too weak, it dies out. But when it is balanced, it gives warmth and light. Our emotions are like fire. Too much anger, and it destroys. Too little passion, and we lose direction. Balance is the key. One way to find balance is through awareness of impermanence. Nothing in this world stays the same. The person who hurt you will change. You will change. The situation will change. When you truly understand that nothing is permanent, you stop holding on to pain as if it defines you. But this is not always easy. Our minds are like a wild horse, running wherever it wants. If we try to control it forcefully, it resists. If we let it run wild, it causes chaos. The middle way is learning to guide it gently, with patience and wisdom. So, what should you do when emotions overwhelm you? First, pause. Do not react immediately. When a lake is disturbed, the water becomes muddy. But if you wait, it settles, and the clarity returns. Your mind is the same. Give it time before you respond to pain. Next, breathe. A simple breath can bring you back to the present moment. When anger rises, when sadness takes over, just breathe. Feel the air entering your lungs. Feel the tension releasing as you exhale. In this moment, you are not controlled by the past or the future. You are here, now. Then, ask yourself, is this emotion helping me or harming me? If it is guiding you toward wisdom, listen to it. But if it is dragging you into suffering, acknowledge it and let it pass. Do not fight it. Do not feed it. Just let it go, like leaves floating down a stream. Some people think the middle way means being emotionless, but this is not true. It means feeling fully, but not being controlled by those feelings. It means loving without attachment, grieving without despair, and accepting without resistance. When we find balance, we become like a tree in the wind. The wind may blow fiercely, but the tree bends without breaking. It does not resist, nor does it fall. It simply moves with the wind, knowing that storms will pass, and the sun will rise again. Now, think about your own life. Have you ever felt trapped between holding on and letting go? Have you ever struggled between reacting and ignoring? This is where the middle way can help you. It does not ask you to forget your pain or deny your emotions. It asks you to sit with them, understand them, and then choose how to move forward with wisdom. Let go of extremes. Find the middle path. And remember, just like the river, just like the sky, just like the fire, it all flows, it all changes, and in the end, you are free. Meditation and mindfulness, healing from within. Sit down, close your eyes for a moment, and take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs, filling you with life. Now exhale. Let go of everything you are holding on to, just for this moment. The pain inside you, the memories of hurt, the weight of the past, they do not belong to you. They are visitors, passing through your mind like clouds drifting across the sky. You are not your pain. You are not your suffering. You are something deeper, something more peaceful, something untouched by all of this. But I know, it doesn't feel that way, does it? The mind keeps running, spinning stories, dragging you back into the past, pulling you forward into the future. The pain feels so real, the emotions so strong, and you don't know how to break free. The answer is simple. Be here. Be now. Right here, in this moment, you are safe. Right now, in this breath, there is no past to chase, no future to fear. There is only this, the sound of your breath, the beating of your heart, the quiet space within you that is always at peace. The Buddha once said, "Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts." Think about that. The pain is not always in what happened. It is in how your mind repeats it, relives it, makes it a part of your identity. Meditation is the key to stepping out of that cycle. It is the way to see things as they are, not as the mind tells you they are. Close your eyes again. Imagine you are sitting by a river. You see leaves floating by, carried by the water. Each leaf is a thought, a memory, a feeling. Some are light, some are heavy, some bring peace, some bring pain. But none of them stay. They float past. They come and they go. Your mind is that river. Thoughts will come, but you do not have to hold on to them. You do not have to fight them. You only need to watch. Just observe, like the sky watching the clouds. Some clouds are dark and heavy, some are light and gentle. But no cloud can change the sky. This is the power of mindfulness. When you observe your thoughts without judgment, without reaction, they lose their grip on you. The pain begins to dissolve. The hurt becomes just another cloud, passing through, no longer something you are trapped inside. But the mind will resist. It will try to pull you back, make you believe that your suffering is too big to let go of. It will whisper, "You need to be angry. You need to remember. You need to hold on to this." But you don't. Think about fire. If you stop feeding it, what happens? It burns out. The same is true for pain. If you stop feeding it with attention, if you stop revisiting the story over and over, it weakens. It fades. It disappears. Meditation is not about stopping thoughts. It is about changing your relationship with them. You are not the thoughts. You are the one watching them. The more you practice, the more space you create between you and your emotions. And in that space, healing begins. Every great change starts small. Even if you sit for just 5 minutes a day, watching your breath, being present, you are rewiring your mind. You are teaching it to let go, to be still, to stop clinging to pain. Slowly, the noise in your head quiets. The storms inside you become softer. Have you ever seen a still pond? The surface is like a mirror, clear and calm. But throw a rock into it, and ripples spread. The more rocks you throw, the more disturbed the water becomes. Your mind is like that pond. Every thought, every emotion is a rock. If you react to every little thing, your mind is always in chaos. But if you let the thoughts pass, if you stop throwing more stones, the water settles on its own. Do you see? The peace you are looking for is already inside you. It has always been there. It is just hidden beneath all the noise. Meditation is how you clear the noise. Mindfulness is how you bring that peace into everyday life. When you eat, just eat. Taste the food. Feel the textures. Notice every bite. When you walk, just walk. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Listen to the sounds around you. Breathe in the air. When you speak, be present. Listen deeply. Respond with awareness, not with impulse. The more you practice, the more your life changes. You begin to react less, to see things more clearly, to stop carrying unnecessary pain. You become lighter, freer. And when someone hurts you, you do not hold on to it. You do not let it control you. You see it, you acknowledge it, and then you let it go. Like a leaf on the river, like a cloud in the sky, like a fire with no more fuel. Because your peace is more important than your past. Your freedom is worth more than your anger. And the life you are meant to live is waiting for you, beyond the walls of your suffering. So sit, breathe, be still, and let go. Embracing impermanence, the ultimate freedom. Sit with me for a moment. Breathe. Feel the air into your body, then leave. No breath stays. No moment stays. Everything moves, everything changes. This is the nature of life. This is impermanence. Now, think about everything you've ever lost. A loved one, a friendship, a dream you held close to your heart. Think of all the moments you wished could last forever. The warmth of a hug, the laughter of a friend, the feeling of love so strong it seemed unbreakable. But none of it remained. It passed, like a cloud in the sky. And yet, we resist this truth. We fight against it. We hold on, as if we can stop the river from flowing. Impermanence is not an enemy. It is not something to fear. It is the very nature of existence. The Buddha taught that everything that arises will pass away. Every sunrise will set. Every flower will wither. Every person we love will one day leave, or we will leave them. But in this truth, there is something beautiful, something freeing. Because impermanence also means that no pain lasts forever. No sorrow is eternal. No wound remains open forever. Look at the trees. In autumn, they let go of their leaves. They do not cling to them, weeping for what once was. They let them fall, trusting that spring will come again. And when spring arrives, they do not hold on to every flower, fearing the coming winter. They bloom fully, embracing the moment. This is the wisdom of nature. This is the wisdom we must learn. Most suffering comes not from what happens, but from our resistance to it. When someone leaves us, we grieve not only because they are gone, but because we refuse to accept that they were never meant to stay forever. When we lose something precious, we suffer because we believed it was ours to keep. But what if we understood, deep in our hearts, that everything is borrowed, that every moment, every person, every experience is a gift, meant to be cherished but never possessed? Imagine holding sand in your hands. If you grip it tightly, trying to keep it, it slips through your fingers. But if you hold it gently, with an open palm, it remains. Life is like that. The more we cling, the more we lose. The more we let go, the more we are free. Letting go does not mean we stop caring. It does not mean we do not love. In fact, it means we love more deeply, more purely. When we accept that nothing is permanent, we stop taking moments for granted. We stop wasting time on anger, on resentment, on meaningless worries. We begin to see clearly what truly matters. Think of the people in your life right now. Your family, your friends, those who make you smile. One day, they will not be here. You will not be here. This is not meant to be sad. It is meant to wake you up. If you knew you had only one more day with them, how would you treat them? What would you say? Would you waste time on small arguments, on pride, on ego? Or would you hold them close, tell them you love them, cherish every second? This is why embracing impermanence is not about detachment in the way most people think. It is not about being cold or distant. It is about being fully present. When you know that nothing lasts forever, you stop postponing life. You stop saying, "I'll be happy when," You stopped waiting for the perfect moment because you realize this is the moment. Right now, there is great peace in surrendering to the flow of life. Think of water. It does not resist. It does not try to control. It moves with the current, adapting to whatever comes. It flows around obstacles, shaping itself to the path ahead. And because it does not resist, it is unstoppable. This is how we should live. Not clinging to the past, not fearing the future, but flowing with what is, embracing each moment as it comes. When we truly understand impermanence, fear begins to fade. We no longer fear change, because we see that change is natural. We no longer fear loss, because we see that loss is just another form of transformation. And most importantly, we no longer fear death, because we understand that life and death are not opposites. They are part of the same cycle, like day and night, like the seasons. Ask yourself, what are you holding on to? What are you afraid to lose? And what would happen if you let go, just a little? Would you find more peace, more joy, more freedom? Letting go is not something we do all at once. It is a practice, a daily choice. Every day, we can remind ourselves, nothing is mine to keep. Everything is here for a time, and then it will go. And in doing so, we learn to appreciate life in a way we never have before. So, take a deep breath. Feel it enter, feel it leave. Watch your thoughts, your emotions, like clouds in the sky, always moving, never staying. Let them pass, without clinging, without resistance. Live fully, love deeply, and embrace impermanence, for in doing so, you will find the ultimate freedom. Real-life Buddhist teachings on overcoming hurt. Come, sit with me for a while. The world is noisy, but here, in this moment, we are quiet. Let the stillness settle around you like a gentle mist. Breathe in and breathe out. You have carried pain for so long. But today, let's set it down, even if just for a moment. Life is full of wounds. People will hurt you. Sometimes by mistake, sometimes with intention, and sometimes without even realizing they have done so. You know this already. But have you ever wondered, why does their action continue to hurt, long after the moment has passed? A student once came to the Buddha, his heart heavy with pain. "Master," he said, "someone has deeply wronged me. I cannot stop thinking about it. How do I make this suffering go away?" The Buddha simply smiled and asked, "If someone placed a heavy rock in your hands, would you carry it forever?" The student frowned. "Of course not, Master. I would put it down." "Then why?" The Buddha said, "Do you carry the weight of painful words and actions in your heart? Why not put them down as well?" The student fell silent. He understood, but understanding is not the same as doing. So, let me ask you, are you still carrying a rock that someone else placed in your hands long ago?